Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is RemovableSanity, and today I'm reviewing Shame Legacy on the Series X, developed by Fairship Games and Remnant Games and published by Destructive Creations. So what is Shame Legacy? Shame Legacy is a first-person survival horror set in a forsaken cultist village. You attempt to survive using stealth and escape. By solving puzzles, you unravel the mystery that is haunting you. The premise is, after waking up confused, hurt and angry, you quickly realise that a hunt is taking place, and you're the prey thereafter. The legacy of your family seems to have caught up with you, but maybe not in the way you'd expect. The game boasts stealth mechanics, stress management mechanics, and puzzles to solve. First up is accessibility. With regards to accessibility, there is almost none, with only subtitles being an option. Button remapping is not here, and neither is the options for any difficulty. There is quick time events here with no options to turn off, so if you have mobility issues, this would not be a game you could play. Next is gameplay. You play as William, our protagonist, who wakes on the outskirts of a village that appears to be set in the late 1800s, with little to no memory and a wound in your stomach. You make your way along a trail, and after a brief vision of a priest who seems to know William, you are left to explore a burning village whose inhabitants are hunting him for some reason. It quickly becomes clear that the villagers are cultists, and their leader is your father, who seems to set on killing him for some reason. It is here that the stealth mechanics come into play, as the player will come across a small outdoor toilet with a hide prompt, which does a great job demonstrating the hide and peek mechanics. This will be needed often to gauge the enemy's distance and location, and will be regularly needed throughout the game. As you progress, you will need to bypass inhabitants without being seen, and this is where the game relies heavily on a noise mechanic that reveals how loud William is when he's crouching, walking or running, shown in the bottom left hand corner. Whilst this does indeed gauge the player's noise level, there is no indication of what the enemy's visual distance level is, and it's pretty much guesswork if you will be seen or not. Later in the game, there are also near-invisible sound traps that can alert surrounding enemies to the player's position. Further on, another trap appears as individuals hung on crosses that wow loudly when you are seen by them, and effectively become watchtowers that alert others to your presence. So it soon becomes a mini cat and mouse game, ensuring you know where the enemy is and the best route in order to avoid them. However, the AI pathing isn't great, so it will mostly be a case of waiting around to see when the perfect opportune moment works in your favour. Early on, you are given access to a staff, which doubles as not only part of a puzzle-solving device, but also as a second chance should you get caught by the inhabitants. Here you will have to go into a QTE when you'll have to press a combination of buttons or move the joystick to a specific location in a bid to knock out your attacker and break free. This sounds great until you realise there's a big caveat to its use against enemies. This is because once the stars have been used on an attacker, William enters a panicked state and needs medication in order to calm him down and use the staff again. If you don't find a medicine bottle before being attacked a second time, then it's game over. And due to the zones in question often populated with multiple enemies, this can and will happen a lot. Now, whilst you have that to contend with, you'll also have a number of chase segments where a fiery demon will also attack you. These are more cinematic experiences and often are not involve you following a preset path, dodging, vaulting and crawling your way to freedom with the monster hot on your trail. This is great for the first few times, but soon gets tiresome the more it happens, as its graphical issues can hinder you finding the correct path. However, where the game really shines is its puzzle elements, which was enough to keep the gameplay varied and not too plentiful to ensure boredom. The puzzles themselves are all about exploring the environment, with one of the very first being with William trapped in a dungeon with cell doors that will not open unless you use the staff in a specific way. All the puzzles were great and not too complicated if you kept your eyes open, and gave the game its much needed respite from the chasing and stealth segments. Graphics is next. The game's visuals are a strange mix of beauty and glitches. What I mean by that is there is numerous pop-ins and texture tears as you progress, with the most prominent being the title screen itself. You can see the textures load in over a few seconds as you're about to start the game, and this translates even harder when playing. The lighting also seems to be having a bit of an issue, as it gives every asset in the game a coat of gold dust that just looks odd when viewing it. Saving and loading are pretty long for a game of its size, which would suggest some porting issues. With regards to the environment themselves, there is plenty of variety from villages, mines, cornfields and mansions. The more unusual ones are often tied into some sort of dream sequence, which randomly happen when you enter a room or move near a statue. These made no sense to me, but again gave the game enough variety not to be stale. Visually, I like the look of the character models and the demon, and their interaction with the player, even if there is little variation to the models of themselves. When the game runs smoothly though, it does work well, and stealthing around an unnerving village location under moonlight with only candlelight to give you a hint of where you are is great. The choice to go with a clean hub also suits the game well and helps the mood feel authentic to the time period it is set in. And finally is sound. The sound design is where the game excels, as it creates a lot of tension as you progress through. Gruesome screams, chatter from enemies, and the thud of grass under your foot all builds its immersion. But this was quickly let down by the voice work. I'm not sure what happened, but it's almost felt like an AI was being used to create the voice work with how flat and monotoned it was. Only the actor whose voice is William came across with any prominence. Maybe that is what the developer had intended all along.
Father, I'm scared. I don't want to die.
There is a little music here, with the game utilising strange echoes, scraping chalk on a board, and screams to do the heavy lifting. This works really well, and they only give you a Hitchcock-like score when being chased, and this does a job wonderfully in making you sweat. My recommendation here is a good quality soundbar to help hear the wailing of tortured souls fill your room. And this leads me on to the rating of the game. Now I rate games in order of avoid, on sale, great purchase and must own. My rating for Shame Legacy is on sale. For me, the game was okay, mostly enjoyable, but due to its price, graphical issues and semi-broken AI, this did let down what could have been a solid little experience. The price is well over for the time you will take to complete this, and would do better with a price drop. The game is currently priced on Xbox at £24.99 or approximately $30, and depending on your skill and patience would give you about 3+ hours worth of gameplay. There is achievements for speed running, no menacing playthroughs and a second playthrough, but these feel more tagged on to add meat to the game's bare bones. The game starts off strong, but tends to grind a bit with its overuse of chase sequences and frustrating enemy AI. There is a solid foundation here, however, and being this is the developer's first attempt, I'm still looking forward to what they produce next. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I do hope you like this review, and if you do, please like, share and subscribe if you so wish. And if you would like to put some notes or even just a comment in the comment section, I do like reading them. Anyway, have a great time gaming, and I'll see you all again soon.